Hello, everybody. This is Travis from Pumpkinhillradio. I just want to let you know that our Patreon, patreon.com/Pumpkinhillradio, is really shaping up over there. So if you like the content you hear on this channel, you're going to love what we got going on over there. And for our first 10 subscribers to our Patreon, it's only $1 a month to get in. That dollar buys you bonus episodes. It gets a sticker sent right to your door. You'll get shout-outs throughout the next episode of Pumpkin Hill Radio as you become the ghost co-host for that episode. All that and so much more at patreon.com/pumpkinhillradio. What the hell else are you going to do with that dollar?
The difference between us is that I can feel pain.
It feels like a real boogeyman once Freddy's coming for you.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy.
There's someone else in the hotel with us. There's a crazy woman in one of the rooms.
It's got a death curse.
This isn't science. It's more like black magic.
Your specimen has been processed, and we are now ready to begin the test proper.
Hello, my Not Owl friends, and welcome to a very special edition of Pumpkin Hill Radio. I'm your host, Travis Wormwood. Got my co-host, Dawson Trailer, here as always. And special guest, Sam, who is also the ghost host. He is one of the Patreon subscribers. He did.
Ghost host.
He's the ghost host for the episode. But
number 6.
He's fully here.
Number 6.
Episode 69.
Welcome to episode 69 of Pumpkin Hill Radio. Every week we dig into esoteric topics, paranormal mysteries, highest strangeness of the highest order, everything you need to be, to learn about this weird, wild world we got going on. And we got a weird one today. We're talking about wands and the ancient origins of them. We're going to talk about all through history, basically. I think right now, if I say wand, you're basically just thinking Harry Potter. We're going to try to
It's a big part of it.
Kind of go, yeah. We're going to try to go around that and see the ancient implications. What we're doing beyond that, esoteric groups that are still using them today. Welcome in everybody to the Cult of the Star Mother. Just by listening and watching, you have joined the cult. You can join further. You can join further levels by going to patreon.com/pumpkinhillradio. There you'll get a monthly bonus episode. We're actually going to record later today. It's pretty exciting. Besides that, you can get free sticker. You get a shout out just like Sam just did, even though he's right here.
I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and also I just want to say thank you. Yeah, thank you to the paying members. There's only 3 spots left on the $1 tier. Yeah. Once that is filled out, it will jump up to a $5 tier with all the same benefits because it is worth $5. But that's just an early.
Worth a lot.
It's an early access benefit of a $1 tier. You can lock that in. What else we got, Doss? We got Obscura and Worlds Beyond, A Collection of Strange Tale is a book that I publish. It is on my Etsy, our Etsy.
There's a project coming with that in the works.
Yeah, there's also...
I won't spill too many beans on that, but...
Yeah, things are getting worked on with that, so go read the book so you can see the stuff that happens afterwards.
Stay tuned, yeah. Big stuff coming.
Oh, God. Got some sirens outside. Well, how are we doing, boys?
Yeah. Chilling.
Good. Comfortable.
Beautiful day.
Having a nice day.
We got Sam in the studio.
Sun shining. I'm on the AI 1s and 2s over here. I'm embracing AI recently.
It's great. It's a great tool.
It's a great tool.
If you use it with...
I'm not too scared
I'm not that scared of it.
I'm not very scared of it. I just want to put that out there. So if it needs to have retribution on me, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I always say thank you when I'm talking to AI. We do have a couple listener replies I'm going to go over later, so stay tuned for that. Somebody sent in a crazy astronaut dream / vision.
Yeah, we're going to start with that?
I saw a book.
No, we're not starting with that. That's going to be at the end.
Okay, cool. I like
yeah.
That premium?
Yeah.
That's not premium. That's just you got to listen through it. It's just a lot to take in. I don't want to start off with that.
It will probably,
Real quick, boys, before we get into wands and all this stuff, like we always do, this the weirdest side of things that we can find. Anything horror this week that we want to talk about?
I've heard Nosferatu's good.
I've also heard that.
I've heard very mixed opinions. I've heard it's really good.
Fine.
I've heard people say, "Wow, I love it."
I've also heard
people
that.
saying like, "This is," I almost walked out.
That's the kind of like reaction you get of something that's
I'm probably gonna like it.
Perfectly hyped.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? People are like,
I'll probably like it.
Actually, I hate it.
Yeah.
People are like, actually, I hate it, just to be contrarian. That means that it's probably good.
And I know, like, if you go,
people like to be critics.
Like the source material is from the 20s, right? 30s, whatever. So it's
100 years old.
I also know a lot of people like our age heard of Nosferatu from like SpongeBob. And they probably watch it and they're like, "Where's Patrick? This isn't Bikini Bottom.
This is not. Yeah.
This isn't Bikini Bottom. Where's the Krusty Krab?"
Yeah, I think that I bet I'm gonna like it. I bet it's probably
I'll enjoy
slower
it.
paced than some people would probably be okay with, or like I don't know. I haven't seen
I
it.
heard
So
that it's like a real psychic. There's some psychic
For
offenses happening.
the very esteemed listener, they might remember my reading habits. What I was reading.
What have you been reading?
I've put down Stephen King a little bit, not on any bad note. You know, it's just a lot to take in, and a lifetime of reading.
Yeah.
But I've been reading American Psycho. I'm pretty excited for the
That's
next
not
one.
Stephen King.
No, it's not. I put down Stephen King,
Oh,
and
I
I've been
see,
reading.
okay.
Yeah, I forget who wrote that actually, but yeah, I'm excited for that reboot. As I was telling you earlier, dude. Like,
Pretty sick.
I hope it's modern. I hope it's not a timepiece set in like the late '80s, early '90s. I hope it's like
2020s.
I hope it's the 2020s, and I hope they explore the book again because again, there's a lot they don't put in the movie, the one with Christian Bale. It's grotesque. I mean, there's good reason to skip over a lot of that, but I think they could like pull different stuff and have like an entirely different story while being the same story, which is pretty exciting. You know,
Hell yeah.
I'm stoked for that.
Yeah,
I don't know. The like reboot thing is kind of old, but it's like whatever, dude.
remakes when they have a book behind it are different because sometimes a movie will be remade without when it's just like an original idea. When there's a book previous
Well,
to
that's
it,
the thing. I'm thinking like when's Harry Potter remake?
Yeah,
coming
'cause
out?
there's
They
usually,
gotta be
like-
on the cusp of that. They probably want to.
yeah, you got to cut so much out to make a movie, so you can make an
you can
entirely
just,
different
like,
film based on.
Yeah, you can redo it.
Just reimagine.
I just read the scene where he like tortures his ex, and it's like that wasn't in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
crazy. To see that depicted in a movie would be terrible.
Yeah.
But it'd be good horror.
Yeah.
What else, Doss? I'll say something.
Yeah, what do you got?
So just to keep up on horror movies a little bit, I watched something called Mind, Body, Spirit. It's a Shudder original,
Nice.
which I always appreciate, and it was pretty cool. It was about
Shudder, dude. Shudder rocks.
yeah. Shout out to Shudder, Sam. It's actually reminded me of you a little bit because I know you always used to do like your like video yoga sessions with YouTube
Yeah.
and stuff. You know,
Still
this
do.
was the story is about like a woman who's like trying to be a yoga influencer, and she like goes to her in her grandma's will after her grandma passes away, who she never met. She gets like a house basically, so she's like doing these yoga videos in the house, and she ends up like finding a secret room pretty early on in the movie, and she finds these writings that at first seem like they're like her grandma was probably also into some like spiritual practices, and she thinks it's all like probably for the better, but then as it goes on, it seems like maybe the grandma was doing some very dark things. So this woman's like, she thinks that she's, no spoilers really, but it's very cool. She thinks that she's like trying to touch on like higher planes, and it seems like maybe she's actually digging into much lower planes of reality. Right.
Yeah.
There's something real to that.
That was cool, and it was like
The path starts out as the same thing, and then it forks.
Yeah,
You know.
it was like a found footage film, which I like too. Not like it wasn't like shaky cam because it's like just her videos,
It's like webcam style.
It's like it just shows like maybe like the uncut version of like the videos that she would be posting onto YouTube.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Or like
Yeah,
live
yeah.
stream.
Yeah.
Because she's like, it's all streamed like that, and it's like it still moves around. It's not like you're just stuck in one room with her.
Right.
It was cool. It was cool. And
What was it called?
Mind, Body, Spirit.
Right, because it's a yoga thing.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
fucking dumb.
It was-
I like that. Though.
was
Not in a
good.
bad way. You
Yeah.
know what I like?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
I'd
that.
give it like
That's
a 8 out of 10, and I'm pretty generous with horror movies. People might like it more or less, but I like all horror movies.
We're
and-
enjoyers, not critics.
Yeah. So I'd say Mind, Body, Spirit is our classic Pumpkinhillradio movie of the week.
Nice.
Beyond that,
Check it
Doss,
out, guys.
you got anything for horror this week?
I don't know actually. Nah.
Yeah.
not really. I started watching the Benny Gesserit show.
Oh, the Dune
Dune
Prophecy.
Prophecies.
Yeah. You've
It's pretty good, man.
Dawson's recently moved into his own abode, and he's
watching
been
all the
he's been
Amazon
watching
Prime.
more TV. So I got to catch up. He watched through a lot of the new Lord of the Rings thing,
Yeah.
and I got it. So yeah, and so basically I got to
It's
get
good
through
stuff.
2 powerhouse shows. That's gonna
Yeah.
like. Those are like what 10 episodes each. That's 20
Yeah.
episodes that are gonna break my
There's-
mind.
The premiere, like the first episode's usually like like an hour, 25, hour 15.
You
A
know
little
what?
longer usually.
A little behind the scenes, Doss. We did not set the lights behind us today, but it's so bright it doesn't
No,
matter.
we're looking good.
Nice.
Sunshine's looking
Yeah.
good.
We're
With the
recording
natural
midday.
light, I think that's for like when we're doing nightcast.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome everybody into Pumpkinhill Radio. That's the nice little horror of the week. Basically, it's the year of the Bigfoot. as we
You're
know,
the
if you
Bigfoot
listen to
dude.
the first episode of the year,
Is that
it's
the Chinese thing?
no, it's just something.
It's our thing.
No, it's not the Zodiac. It could be maybe the Pumpkinhillradio Zodiac. I'm sure every
That'd be
year
cool.
we'll do it.
Could found that.
After
dude.
12 years, we'll have a full.
Yeah, dude.
That'd be tight.
That's then we'll
Yeah.
like bring the full calendar out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Sam, you may not know, but every single month we're gonna do at least one Bigfoot related episode. The
Big
first
deep
episode
dive.
of the year was kind of a breakdown of some of the
Wait,
Bigfoot's.
the first episode of the month.
Not
Wait, what'd you
necessarily.
say?
Just
What'd you say?
just one a month.
One
Just once a month.
Sorry, I
You're
don't
good.
know
Yeah, no,
first.
for the listeners, yeah, it is good to know. Maybe it'll be the first of the month if it just ends up being that. But just at least once a month. So you'll have at least 12 Bigfoot related episodes by the end.
Check it out.
Yeah, the first one was more like ancient origins, like I like to dig into, and then we kind of just talked about the broad areas of it, and now we're going to really zoom in on different, we're going to talk about, I think even this week's Patreon episode
Yeah.
might be a specific Bigfoot encounter we dig into.
Yeah.
So again, that's another little mid
Dude,
pod plug for that.
I walking around in the woods as a kid, I wanted to see Bigfoot so bad that I
Oh,
swear
yeah.
I would like kind of lie to myself and be like, I saw it, dude. You know what I mean? like I would be like,
It's out there, dude.
I think I saw it, dude.
I think you can call it with your own want, your desire, pure desire to see it.
Yeah. Gotta get into some deeper woods.
Well, yeah, if we get,
Yeah.
we'll have to have you
Just
on for a
cool
Bigfoot
shirt on.
thing.
That's not very horror.
Sam
but-
wanted to come on because he's wearing his shirt. You can show it
Very
off.
cool wolf shirt.
If you're listening to the audio,
It's a
now's the time to
one-wolf
come to the
shirt.
video. Sam showing off his shirt. We will have some pictures of wands and things later on, because I
I'm
think it might be about time to get in there.
Let's do it.
Well, let's just talk about real quick. Like, what do you get when I say wand? What are you guys thinking of?
Well, there is the scene from Harry Potter. That one, I saw Harry Potter like 3 times in theaters. The first one as a kid, and I was like 6. So like, I got on it, and I read the first few books and shit.
Good stuff.
It even comes up on this like AI search. It's like the only like pop culture reference. And then like
The big one.
I've actually thought this on my own. This technology magic. It's like the stuff we have today. To a layman, to an outsider, would look like a goddamn magic wand. I mean, that thing.
Bluetooth.
You can lay a Bluetooth.
Dude,
is
I can like
magic
airdrop.
wand.
Boom.
And the Bluetooth thing, it's pretty interesting. The people that made the logo for Bluetooth. Do you ever read about that?
Yeah, well, that's
Because they,
a,
like,
it's a
took-
rune.
Well, yeah, they took the runes and like overlapped them on each other, and it like, I would be butchering whatever it is, but it's very interesting.
Wow.
And that's
Yeah.
why it looks so badass.
You could search
too.
it there.
Yeah, I was gonna look up. Look at that. That thing is damn
Yeah,
cool.
go ahead and
That's
open
a-
your
that's a-
phone. Look at the Bluetooth logo for a
that's
second.
That's a logo that like, I don't know.
It is a rune.
I've
We
done a
are good.
little-
We have our rune research we're gonna do.
I've
at
done,
some point
done a
this
little
year.
logo research in my life, and there's good ones and bad ones, and there's
Good
ones
one.
that are bigger than the brand they are. We're so used to logos being a brand thing, and it's like, think of some of the most powerful movements in histories and the symbols that go with it. It's like Bluetooth. That symbol is reminiscent of other extremely powerful symbols.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And
It's pulling
very-
from
it's
earlier
very-
things. Yeah.
It doesn't do too much. It's very simple.
That's I like. I mean, yeah,
mystical.
talking about like
Very
logos that big.
magical.
It is. It's a magical. It's a rune, dude. I played RuneScape, and you could do magic in that game. Let me tell you. All right.
They're like
That's what
the
it is.
Nabisco logo is essentially the symbol for Leviathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one I always thought was interesting.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Nabisco's got like, they are all over everything.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
It's basically the infinity sign with the cross
Yeah.
coming out of it with the
Yeah.
two
It
T,
looks-
like the two
you
sections.
look at
cross.
it and take it. I don't know. Like logos.
But instead of an infinity sign, it says
Powerful.
Nabisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of goofy. Dawson,
one
what do
of
you think of when we say wand?
I think just any like divination rod. I was also like, because I have like a church steeple outside my window I can see.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like that's maybe some sort of wand as well. Does anything that like channels some sort of like energy out of the ether to create like some sort of like mystical, magical, like spiritual space?
Yeah, you're
Channels
not
that energy
wrong.
and like brings it in.
You're not wrong. Definitely that
Yeah.
like a pyre, like this like spear.
Yeah, pyre. That's
Because
what
yeah,
I
like right off the bat, when we say wand, I know, like I said earlier, like you're probably imagining like a Harry Potter wand,
Harry Potter, really
which is
popular
a version of it. But wand, especially in more ancient times, was interchangeable with the word staff, rod. These different. even like scepters, all these. So today's episode isn't going to be about just like Harry Potter wands. It's almost going to not be about that at all. I don't really know much about Harry Potter wands, but we will be talking about like every religion having basically some type of wand or spear or staff. This rod.
Ancient man finding a stick.
That's where it goes
maybe,
to.
a gift from God, and then it just, come on now.
Well, that was kind of one of the funny parts of my research is like, as listeners know, we usually bring it back to like Mesopotamia, Sumeria, go as early as possible. Back. But now this one is basically like a Homo erectus, like finding a stick and like in that moment becoming Homo sapien essentially because it like then gets the knowledge to like use a tool. Yeah, it's a tool, right? So you're looking at the dawn of man. You're looking at 60.
Like the orangutan using a stick to like spearfish. It's like, damn. Are they like
isn't that
wands?
So there are like magical properties that we'll go over. I like to, we like to talk about like magical weapons and things here, so we're going to bring some of that into play. But just before we even dig into like the esoteric kind of like magical wooey woo side of it, just the implications of a tool that humans have used without any break in time for like 60 to 70,000 years of time, of like the timeline, like that. Having something in like your arsenal for that long, having like a wand or a staff for so long, that just like imbues that sort of tool with a innate, right, like some metaphysical properties. If we're talking about like psychic tattoo, it's just like, I don't, it's like
it's stuck around for long enough. There's like something to it, you know.
Even
be like in pop culture now, even with like Harry Potter, like there's something like it's coming from something, and like it's like if you go to any metaphysical like shop, there's like some sort of like copper wire wrapped crystal, wand that people use for like divination and shit. Yeah. Different rituals or like.
And we will do a bonus Patreon episode where me and Dawson will take you through creating a wand. We're going to create some together. We're going to get we'll talk about a little bit of that today, but we're going to actually do it on a thing. And we invite y'all to get some materials and do it with us. So we're looking at the dawn of like humankind, right? There are the earliest like visual, so we're talking about this is a tool, so they've been using this forever, but the earliest like visual evidence we have is in a cave painting, right? There's like these 18,000 years ago, a painting from 18,000 years ago. Just think about that for a second.
Damn, it's a lot of years.
Yes. It depicts, this is in Lascaux, these are Lascaux caves in France. These paintings depict figures wielding bird-headed staffs in what appears to be ritualistic contexts. These are early representations suggesting that our ancestors understood the symbolic power of these implements as extensions of their human will and authority. They basically, I got way into this like shamanic side of things because that before anything else, back when we were still hunter-gatherers, before there was really any other like job before hunting and gathering, there also was like a shaman job. There was this thing besides like, so even at the earliest stages, we knew that like, hunting and gathering, that's like sustenance. You don't actually need to do anything else if you're like living on just the physical side of the world. But even at that time, when there's still 25,000 years ago, they say we need this shamanic thing to like to connect with. Because even at that time,
navigate the spiritual plane that's overlaid.
Yeah, the moment that I think that points to just the moment that like we became Homo sapiens, like that was like something in that granted us like you see this metaphysical side. Then you become this like other thing, this spiritual being. You always were, but it's like you can like see it then, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that animals aren't, but I'm saying like I don't know if they can always see that they
that's
are.
Like that's like why the shaman was like the one that just focused on that, on the spiritual world, and like guided people through life basically.
Yeah.
I found something kind of interesting.
Yeah, what do you got, Sammy?
Some of the earliest depictions, like recovered artifacts are made from hippopotamus ivory, which I think is just kind of cool. There was a goddess at that time, Toret.
This would be in Egypt.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Just so
Which
reference, we are skipping from 18,000 years ago to 2,000 to 4,000 years ago,
like
just for timing concepts.
And early
well, this is 2000 BC, so this is like
4K.
4,000. Yeah, but it's just interesting that like not even at that time, of course, like there was a lot of wisdom and knowledge inherently within anybody that's born, but like it's just interesting that they were using such technologies or the ideas. I always find it supremely interesting when the different ideas and concepts pop up like in different parts, and it always makes me wonder, like, was there genuine data transfer and like knowledge passing, or was there like telepathy?
What kind of symbiosis was it?
Is it just innate in our brains?
Just like a natural human like process.
And then at the same time, or not, well, a similar time, Homer mentions magic rods in the Odyssey and the Iliad.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty cool.
It's all over. So like, let's sit in.
He's the most,
Let's sit in Egypt for a while, okay? This is basically where we get the first, like you said, this is where we get the well documented use of magic wands for actual magical purposes. I mean, we have like the shamanic side of it, but this is.
They're doing like legit.
Like high status Egyptians are using these things, and it's hippopotamus ivory because they're living in the Nile at this time.
Right. Well, and there's like some goddess.
That's like a powerful animal.
So these were carved.
Protector of mothers and children.
Yeah. So because that's because some of the spells they're using are for childbirth and protection like
they
that.
Did a lot. Yeah. It was
so
like a big timeline.
These are like intricately carved. And they almost like look like boomerangs because they're these like tusks, right, that are carved like that.
They're curved.
They had images of demons wielding knives, serving multiple purposes with safeguarding newborns and conducting religious ceremonies. So at its earliest time, these things are used to symbolize like almost like a leadership as well, or like a divine authority, a way to like speak,
like invoke.
Yes,
certain gods.
Invoking. That's the word. Yeah.
One of them was the deity, the lion dwarf Bess.
Oh, sick.
That's badass.
What's Bess?
And then the hippopotamus goddess Toweret to safeguard homes and individuals.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Also used to curse enemies.
Yeah, it's just at this point it's already being seen as a fully magical instrument that they're just using. It spreads to, or it already is in Persia, Mesopotamia, Babylon. These Babylonian texts mention wooden sticks as symbols of ritualist, specialist power. So different wands different like wooden sticks would even represent like different types of power. So you're even looking at like specializing in different magical forces at that point. Zoroastrian magi utilize this. The bearsman, a sacred bundle of twigs bound together for ceremonial purposes. These practices emerge in early Hinduism as well, demonstrating this universal like tool, this spiritual, but it's like a spiritual tool. Right. We can go to like Greek and Roman times earlier. That's again what you said with Homer's Odyssey, right? That's where it comes up in literary references, right? Where it's beyond just like these practices and pictures and stuff in hieroglyphics. Is where it's now being written down.
I found like the reference to like Homer's talked about like Circe's using it to transform men into animals.
Sick.
And then like they also were used to fight deities like the chaos serpent Apophis. And like I know we're like gonna relate wands to serpents soon here. There's like something tied in with that.
Yeah. Yes.
Moses and all that, but
it's
very interesting.
That first part you said though, what was that again? Say that again.
Circe's used a wand to Circe's, which transformed men into animals.
Yeah, that's again this like we've been touching on this here a lot, this like ancient druidic magic. It's like some of these first wand spells were almost like, I think this would be somebody who has the ability to use this like this druidic forms, like then channeling it through themselves and like casting it basically. Right? Which is like, I guess that's like a magical use for it right there, is like showing it. It's they were called like boomsticks, rods like this. These like blasting rods they were called. Damn. I don't know. It kind of goes all over. But what do you got, Sam? You reading something?
Could you consider like a firearm or a gun?
At some point, that's like in this
almost,
day and age, you're looking at like anything you can get. So if it's like a way to like channel yourself in a way, like you look at like a paintbrush.
Some sort of force, pencil, pen.
Yeah, like
phones.
The thing that violin players use to like play the violin. That like the
tattoo machine.
I mean, really, like a pencil. I think it. Yeah. Maybe that's almost like too like.
It's very broad.
It's very broad, but it is what it.
No, I mean you're
it makes sense.
Converting something
even like
into
your
something
finger,
else.
Just like your arm and your touch, like
it might not be like full-fledged alchemy, but like by writing some shit down, by taking a blank white canvas and a rod of graphite, and you create you memorialize a moment in time. It's like, well, what is that? What
create
is
something that creates emotions?
Yeah,
and,
it's like, well, what
thoughts
is
into
that?
someone
Then is
else's
that
mind.
is it not magic? I mean, it
It-
might not be.
I believe
but,
it's magic, dude.
but,
Everything's
like,
magical.
No, exactly. No, I'm not really reading about much that's too crazy over here. Just kind of still about the Egyptian wands and how like demons played in quite a bit, but they weren't always bad. They just kind of like demons seem to be, in my understanding right now, just kind of something to stir up the pot. Not as much
Just
directly
some
evil.
deities.
It's like, hey, here's order and chaos.
In
And let's mix it
in
up.
the demon episode, it's they all have their own demons in general. All these spirits are just things that have their own like agendas. Nothing is like good / evil. It's more like here are like they have different plans. Maybe they might fit into those. But yeah, you're right. Demons, and especially in
They're
like
like
Mesopotamian
resources a lot,
side,
you know?
yeah, they were just things to connect with. Right.
Yeah.
They were not seen as like outright just
Right.
evil.
Yeah.
And that's why, yeah, even 30,000 years ago with these shamans, they're trying to like facilitate communication with the spirit realm to like connect. They're trying to conduct like soul journeys is what they were calling them then, and even connect with animal spirits. That's kind of they're trying to like still. At this point, you're still like domesticating a dog for the, like a wolf for the first time.
Reminds me of too is like the Also One, like weird wand and like the Sandown Clown.
Yes, there's that was
and,
like
some of these things that have like abducted people basically.
That's the other half of this is that it seems like wands. Not only are they in this ancient tech, it seems like they were else
they
like
come these high strange events.
They come with like aliens and
like the frogmen.
The frogmen. All three of them were holding. Yeah, there's the frog. Yeah, there's two different frogman accounts. They are all holding wands for some reason. You're right though, Dawson. That's really interesting to point out because it is like we look at. I don't know. Is that something that was being given to them like 60,000 years ago? Then
is that like was that our like gift of like consciousness from like the gods?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that like what if you want to like translate it a certain way? These like other strange beings that visit people and like show you like crazy shit,
like
the unimaginable things that you just like don't even know how to comprehend.
Yeah.
So you like well, that was like this spirit realm or something.
Yes, for some reason.
That's like
aliens also have wands, right?
Yeah.
Which seems more like a magical thing than like an alien thing, but it all is.
Right.
As Sam pointed out earlier, it's like the
magic,
the magic tech of it all. Yeah, this.
But anything like high tech, like our cell phones now, even 100 years ago, would be like magic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd be like beyond anyone's comprehension.
Dude,
so
if
like,
you whipped out an iPhone in '95,
dude, if I was doing this and like showing you like images and like
high res video,
sound,
like wall to wall screens, you know, it just looks unreal.
Like if I like were to do this and cast it onto a projector on the wall, it's like you're like, well, that's.
And so we're getting there with that kind of tech, but we're missing the part where it's like taking, and we're getting there because I feel like sometimes it does do this already, but like taking the energy that you are like conducting in yourself and actually focusing it out, like because right there that's like an object that you're like sending stuff out from, but the wand is more something that's like in here to here, up the arm to there, right? And actually, so just like a little side thing, and I know I've said this before, but like when I was doing Tai Chi there for just a couple months, the first fucking couple of things that the guy was teaching me and like showing me were these 12 to 15 foot long, very heavy bamboo rods. Yeah. Which, you know, maybe a wand in itself, really. But he was showing me, he would grab just the very end of one and hold it just real loosely. I don't know if I have like it. Just loosely. Just like kind of with just like right there with just like the pointer and the thumb. For the audio, I'm doing just a hand gesture on the video side of things, but
it's like the very like small end of it.
So yeah, he grabs the very end of it, so it's like ends right there. He's not balancing on his wrist, you know. He's not like
no
catching
leverage.
it right there, and he just lifts it up, and he just holds it, and he can like spin it around himself, and he puts it back down, and then he's like, "Okay, you try," and I tried as hard as I could have many times with both hands, and there is just no way to get it up at first, right?
It's not like a strength feat.
And then this dude was skinny as hell. He was like just like a skinny dude that he just got. He was like 65, 70 years old, you know, just teaching these things. But he's telling me, he's like, don't pick it up from where you're holding it. Pick it up from the end, the far end.
Yeah, yeah.
And so right there, he's like teaching you how. It was like the first basic lesson is like extending your energy outside of yourself, right? Yeah. So that's what the wand would do. It like grabs it and it moves it from there to there. And then he keeps on saying, he's like, you get it to where you can reach out there. Then it's like reach a little further, reach a little further, reach a little further, and all of a sudden you're reaching out with your energy like 40, 50 feet across like whatever it is to like move stuff, or just like.
And then if you have like a
connect with
wand that
something.
like is built to like channel that and extend it, blast it and like charge it.
Yes,
Dude,
that's
come on
and I
now.
think so, and like
That's just your chi.
even in like a lot of stories, even like fictional stories, it'll be like the thing like masters are like they put their wands away and they can just do it with their hands
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like that's because like at some point maybe that is better, but having like that conductive element of a wand, I think is never a bad thing, and definitely unless you're like a master, which none of us are.
No.
You're gonna want to have something that can focus it, because else you're gonna go all out of whack. It's like when you're trying to connect with these spiritual things. If you do something a little off, you're gonna connect with something else you don't mean to.
You might
It's like the
just
mind, body,
explode.
spirit fucking movie I watch. It's like you don't know what you're talking to. That's why there's such. That's why it doesn't. It's like magic isn't necessarily gatekeeping stuff. It's like there's just
You gotta be
such
safe.
specific like blocks
Yeah.
between each thing, and
But-
like rituals need to be done so precisely,
You
because
can't
else
just give
you
like
are.
a 3-year-old a loaded gun and tell him to like fire away.
Yes, and we're all just 3-year-olds with
Yeah,
guns right
we're
now
all just
shooting at demons,
babies.
trying to find the right. And you're
We
literally,
don't even know how to hold it up right.
yeah, and
How to aim
there's
it.
just like you just need to be able to connect with something. I basically believe that every pantheon is like real in some sense, right? Every god that humans have ever discussed is either an amalgamation of another god that somebody else has talked about. I think it's all focuses in on this stuff, even this like the being given wands 30,000 years ago. I don't know
The
how.
same phenomenon.
I don't know if I'm exactly an ancient alien guy, but I mean, kind of is, because that's what it is, right?
I mean, it's
but
part of it.
that's just a part of it.
It's
I
just a way to like
the
translate
word
the
ancient
same
alien kind of has like weird connotations now too, where you just
It's
like
just kind of different
Astronaut
translations of
Yeah.
the same thing,
Mm.
almost. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
With like a different cultural lens. So if you can just like take each one, because each one like emphasizes almost like a different aspect of it. So if you can try to like emphasize each thing from all of it. I don't know. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We've
no,
talked about
you
this before. That's
yeah, you
just
can
chaos
go
magic,
off
you know
on
what
it,
I mean?
but it's like that's why with any of these rituals you want to be precise with your movements, and that's why like
You don't want to just wing it, because you will curse yourself.
yeah, you'll curse yourself. That happened to me at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, we're cleaning ourselves up from that.
So I'm just plugging my iPad in, so I got energy here.
I've definitely done that before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I think
It's fine.
Not all knowledge is wisdom. I heard
Yeah.
that from
Mm.
a wise man.
Yeah. Knowledge is knowing
What to take in and what to leave.
a tomato is good, but wisdom's knowing how to use it.
You know, as a little,
wait.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I made that up
as a
wrong.
little bit of a sidebar here, you know, while you're digging
Yeah,
something
yeah.
else. I think it's interesting. I looked up more of Homer's stuff,
Hell
and
yeah.
Hermes uses a wand in the Iliad to induce sleep or to awaken people, and that's the wand has a name, Caduceus or Caduceus. I'm not exactly
Oh.
sure how to
Mhm.
pronounce it, but yeah. And
Mhm.
then Athena in the Odyssey uses her wand to transform Odysseus, making him appear old or young.
Yes.
And then
Athena
Athena's
rips.
also
Athena's
badass.
and
yeah.
then Dawson mentioned
Cersei.
Cersei.
doing
Yeah, there are
Animals.
there's
Men into
gods.
pigs.
Men into pigs.
There's gods in basically all cultures and religions that have wands or staves or
Yeah.
scepters that have this. I have like a list of
Moses
some
had
of
a
them
big
later, but
Had a staff.
yeah. So let's talk. So some of the first like writings about it in detail. We have this 10th or 11th century grimoire called the Oathbound Book of Honoris or Honoris.
Sweet.
That's where it mentions them as like blasting rods, and it also talks about how it's the staff is kind of the same thing as like a medicine rod or even like a dowsing rod.
Yeah.
Right. But that's where it digs into like how to communicate with some specific entities using wands and how to even create them. In the 14th century, we get the Key of Solomon, and they talk about wands a lot in there. And from there, that's where it goes into more like medieval magic stuff and like tarot stuff. Do you have anything on like the tarot side of things, Dawson? Because tarot suits, one of the suits is a wand.
The wands. Well, it originated. It's like a similar thing to like the magic wands, like originating and like really being used like as like a divinity thing in like ancient Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like where like the like first records or whatever. People could probably have been using it forever, but like ancient Egypt used it first. I don't know, but it was one of those things too. Again, like similar to magic wands, where it was like kind of like a mystical thing. It wasn't like super popular, but like the like early 1900s, like 18th century kind of stuff, like it really started popping off in like pulp culture. because that was when like all like the occultists were like very into like the like Egyptian mysticism.
Mm-hmm.
They were using like all those tools, all like the little references to things, and like so that was when like at least like in the Western world, that's when it like started like getting really popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's like the classic like art, the Rider-Waite deck. It's like 1909, which like
I know that's the one that
they like created
threw
like
wands
the
into there.
aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's like if you're looking at tarot decks, that's like the first one.
Yeah.
That's like the yellow one with the
the art by Pamela Coleman Smith.
Yeah.
It's that classic tarot deck
Mhm.
art. You know,
Mhm.
everyone's seen it. It's like when you say tarot, that's like what comes to your mind.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what's in the psyche at this point.
So like, there's got to be one around here.
I don't actually have any of the
That's
classic ones right now, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's
There's usually one around.
yeah. Well, back to like the Lesser Key of Solomon, just like some actual wordage from it, from Book 1 in the Goetia. It recommends holding a hazel stick in the hand during operations of Byleth for upholding one's courage. So this is talking when you're speaking to a specific demon, right? This is based on Braculum corylli, or the hazel staff. The passage translates to baculum or bat, and that's where they talk about it being like a rod or a staff or even just a stick, right? Mm-hmm. In Le Grand Grimoire, the main ritual implement is called Le Baguette Mystérieuse à la Vierge Federiente. I don't know how to say that actually, but that's the mysterious wand or blasting rod, right? The Baguette Mystérieuse.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder about the etymology of baguette now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just like a wad, just like a rod,
know
yeah.
it's rad.
Yeah, that apparently causes the spirit to, which causes the spirit to tremble, which God also uses to arm his angel when Adam and Eve were driven out of the earthly paradise, wherewith finally he smote the rebellious angels, precipitating their ambitions into the most appalling gulfs by the power of this very rod. Of this rod which collects the clouds, disperses tempests, averts the lightning, or precipitates each of all upon any portion of the earth at the pleasure of its director. Mm-hmm. It is made of wild hazel, which has never borne fruit. Its length should be 19.5 inches, with a forked end and magnetized steel caps on the pointed ends. So that's like some just good ass, like straight from the witch's mouth right there, huh? Just some of these things powers basically what it talks about. I did hear this. It talks about being made from a tree which has never borne fruit. This talk of like virgin trees or something, like trees caught within like the first year of like seeding, or if they've only seeded like one time. That's like specifically like I think
like a sapling.
Yeah, I think nowadays like you do. I like the one that I made, which I don't have in here. I should have brought is made from like a little scrap of like driftwood I found, right?
Well,
Yeah.
And so I think
I got some cool
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. What do you want to talk about wood there,
Yeah,
Sam?
I've got some interesting stuff. Not only did I get the etymology of baguette in reference to wands, which I'll just drop that real quick. It literally means stick, wand, or baton, and it actually only was used for bread in the 1920s, 100 years ago. And then immediately that's when it became a legal like thing in France, which I just find so funny that they have literal restrictions on what exactly a baguette is. Like for
France is
for
very
100 years now they've had that.
The French are very strict about their baguettes.
And yeah, so it's interesting because we got in French a magic wand has long been called a baguette magique. You know, just a magic baguette.
Wand. So
That's
magic
very funny.
wand,
Emphasizing its slender.
That might be the
crafted-
best information we have so far today. This baguette is kind of a magic wand in a way.
Well, it was a magic wand first,
Dude,
Yeah.
and remember the first paintings 18,000 years ago were in France.
Yeah.
So
They were
French is
using
pretty
baguette.
magical. But then to hop topics a little bit, you brought up wood type, and this is just kind of some AI polling stuff here, but it seems like it's referencing some good source material. Oak is associated with strength and wisdom.
Oh, I got a huge list of these things here.
Willows connected to healing and intuition. Hazel, as you mentioned, linked to protection and divination.
So let me go through these and like give why though.
Well,
So I have some
if you're curious,
ideas
I have the
here.
step by step for creating
Oh,
a
yeah.
historically accurate magic wand today, which it's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Well, let's dig into that next, Sam. Keep that there.
that's a
So
good one.
I'm not going to read all of them, but we can start from the top here. Acacia wood. We're just looking at woods used for
Strong wood.
wands.
The acacia strain.
What
I
I
pulled that. I've read about it. Yeah, there's like
what I've found with this and like a lot of magical material stuff is that there's just so damn many.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have been blown out to like either kind of mean the same thing, or you'll read like protection on like every single one, right? And I think they all have their own, but I think
sells.
Well,
Protection sells.
but I
It's
think
like a modern thing.
But it's like protection from like different things.
that's what I'm saying is I
Right,
think that
right,
it's like some of those exact ideas have been lost to grimoires, or it's the same thing as like, you know, what we always say, Eye of Newt does not mean Eye of Newt. It's
Can
like,
you airdrop me that note somehow?
I don't know, man.
Sorry, I don't mean to distract, but
I
if your
can,
shit's
yeah.
about to die.
No, we're good. We're good here. I'm good. But like, so yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many of these things, and I think it's just more protection against certain things. So if you're using one and you're using like specifically like a protection spell on it, try to dig a little deeper and see like, yeah, protection from what? Like, things are not gonna. I don't think there's any one item that's going to protect every single thing you do, right? According to Franz Barden, the wood of an oak or an acacia too is an excellent material for making a magic wand. That's just what it says about acacia. Almond, I did read some stuff about almond, and that actually goes into there's a staff of Aaron in biblical texts, which has to do with a lot of stuff. But the wand of almond, specifically in the Book of Sacred Magic of Abramelin. Okay, let me say that one more time.
Whoa.
The Book of Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage should be made of almond as thick as the little finger, and an eli in length. And oh god, it just okay. An eli is about an elbow to fingertip. This is probably in imitation of the biblical staff of Aaron, right? According to Agrippa, almond and other woods of nut trees are associated with the planet Jupiter. Levi recommends the magic wand be made of almond or hazel. Let's talk about the day of the week you're supposed to make them on. It's
Wands Day.
Wands Day, just for the maybe nobody's ever thought of that before. You're supposed to make it on a Wednesday, which is just Wands Day.
Yeah.
It's right.
Right.
It's kind of goofy, but he's supposed to be there.
Jupiter, right?
Jupiter actually, I
Mercury.
believe it with Mercury, but those
Mercury,
specific. If you're trying to channel more than one planet, then you make it maybe with almonds. So then you hit both, right?
Yeah.
I also was reading.
Just make it stronger, right?
Don't we have all the planets lined up right now?
Dude,
Actually,
they're lining
yeah.
up. The other night I went out. I went outside, and they're like lining up with the moon.
It's gorgeous last night.
There's like three
I
of them
saw
here.
it last night. It was.
Yeah, if you're listening on release
You see
day,
it, it feels magical.
there are some planets aligning right now. Which, hey, I don't know if that has to do with the portals the Pope opened. I don't know if that was just coincidence that he happened to open up
No,
these
it's
portals.
all-
Portals of the Pope opening. Babylon is burning currently.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just a few things going
Yeah.
on.
The orbs are just completely normalized.
Yeah, we have. Let's say that
We
for
got
the
more
alien.
too.
talk.
I got info.
We got
on
an
it.
alien episode on the Patreon too. Make
Check
sure
it
to
out.
check on that.
I'm hyped on that shit.
Wednesday is ruled by Mercury, the Roman god of communication, travel, and intellect. This aligns with the wand's traditional use as a tool for directing energy, enhancing communication, focusing intention.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Yeah.
I got some good stuff about oak and willow too.
Yeah, you want to read?
So oak is renowned for its strength and resilience, the vitality, longevity, steadfastness, making it ideal for grounding and protective magic. Loyalty and courage. They're associated with strength, courage, fidelity, often bonding deeply with their owners.
Okay.
Wisdom and intuition, focus.
See, that's what I don't
enhancing-
like is when something just has every single attribute.
Yeah,
though.
it's like everything.
So like that's why I don't want to just read these lists of just like things, because that's what I mean. Like a focus on what attributes of like strength in what. Like something is not going to just blanket it
Yeah.
out. So like that's where it is. Like when you're doing
I mean, I'm
these
sure
kind
it
of
like depends on like what you're using it for.
that's
you
what
know?
it is. It's like so for the listener, like if you're trying to create one, like you need to be more specific. Like they need to just make sure they do their research on like yes, strength in what form, because else it's like you're gonna get the strength of like fucking Belial demon behind you. And it's like that ain't right.
It enhancing the practitioner's connection with the natural world. So if you're like
There
doing
it
nature magic, you know,
There it
druidic stuff,
I
oak might be for you.
That's nothing on you, Josh. I also got these same list of things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
strength is such a broad thing. It's just
We're
like you
like-
said with protection. It's like, what
Well-
form of strength are we getting from this? Because there's more than one form.
Well, I think it's more like oak's talking more about like physical, like earthly strength.
Yeah.
Willow's getting more into like the psychic, you know, intuitive, you know.
Mm-hmm. If you can actually almost
But
every.
it's all the same adjectives.
Yeah.
But it's like there's like a couple that just.
So I'm like, you got to
It's a
find the
slightly
actual
different, like,
grimoires that
element
have them,
almost, you
right?
know what I mean? Like-
yeah. The most woods and tree, like every zodiac has their own specific like wood or tree.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to work with like zodiac signs and also use a wand, you could like find your zodiac sign and then align it, right? There's I'm not gonna read all of them, but like Elm aligns to Pisces. What else? You can find all of them. I'm like, but
sure, if you're like trying to like channel specific like energy too, whatever like zodiac lines up with those like qualities too. You know,
that's what because I'm like, okay, where are you at with like one wand or multiple wands? Are you trying to have like a whole array so that you can conduct better things, or do you want to have ones that you're like aligning so fully with it? Or I guess is that just the different types of mages, right? I mean,
yeah, I think it all depends on like what you're trying to do.
That's why you got to go to
because like if you're doing like many different rituals and you're like very you're adept, you're probably gonna want like a few different wands for like different times of year, different like zodiac seasons, even and
with all those, I think again, like we did mention, like at some point maybe you want to drop the wand and just like focus through yourself. I think like you'd want to really experiment with all these kind of wands and different like magical attributes so that you can see how that like feels and like what that is. I think that some of them would just help unlock that even.
I think like each person's gonna be different too, like because you might be like one zodiac sign, but using like the wood of your zodiac sign might like clash with that. You might need to like use the wood of like a compatible zodiac sign.
That's
you know what I mean? So you can build that relationship with it and like coexist with it in a certain way.
Here's just one that is
just some theories.
I'm finding a lot of these woods are actually also associated with very specific, even like rituals. So even though it might give like strength, it might be towards this because like pine, according to the Key of Solomon, juniper and pine, that's not right. Basically, it's just some of them are just pointing to specific books. Okay, never mind. The palm, a twig of palm is held in the right hand during the ritual described in the 6th and 7th books of Moses. Sacred trees associated with the zodiac sign of Sagittarius also. So as a Sag, you might want to find a separate one to work with if you also don't want to be doing that specific spell, right? I think it all just gets very granular, and it's like your job as a practitioner to be like, how much of this works for me? How much is necessary? How much can you just sum it up through yourself?
It's all like an intuitive thing too. Like you have to just like feel your own intuition and like go with like what feels right.
It's like the classic Harry Potter scene, right? They talk about it for a little bit even.
It's gonna have to feel right.
Because even in that, they talk about different types of things. Most of them have like an inlaid thing in it. You know, like I don't think we have like phoenix feathers or whatever it is, but they are like you would want to put specific gems and crystals on it to do different things. Like you were saying, wrapping it.
Certain things, wrap it with like copper wire if you want. Like,
copper, I know. Like it's
there's metal wire. There's metal wands too,
or like crystal wands. There's all these types of things, which are all. And so the wand. Here's one thing, like just to touch on. The wand is obviously like a very like phallic symbol, right? It's about like I mean, it's like storing energy and like blasting this energy out. I mean, there's kind of like some ideas there, right? Like so, one way to like if you're trying to get more of the yin and the yang together. Wrapping it in silver, I read is like a way to like channel more like this like goddess energy.
Like silver is like one of those like superconductors too, like copper. Sure, like gold would be another one too. You could use. It's another just I don't know if it would wrap as well as silver. But
but it's something you could like.
Silver's also like got a lot of other properties that are like antibacterial stuff. That's why like silverware was a thing because like you eat with silverware because it like. It keeps the bacteria from like growing.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
a
like
fact.
More sanitary.
Damn. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. And then also like as far as like things you can put on and stuff, like the one that I have out there, I should have brought it in, but it's fine. I have is like it's covered in runes, right? I carve runes into it, or actually I use a wood burner to like to get them in there. So you can do all sorts of things. We have pictures that could be thrown up back behind us, just a few. So it's not. Let's just see some pictures here. That's actually exactly what I'm talking about. On the video is like. Those aren't mine, but that's somebody has just wood burned at least a design into them. I think even if it's not like a specific rune, if you just have like a design that you were really trying to make intricate and cool, like even just that like act of like work on it might help build it into something.
The focus you're like channeling into it, you know what I mean? Like
let's see. Talking
like we talked, like like art is like a form of magic. You know, you're using like a different wand to like channel into this other wand.
I was speaking of just like magic powers. We're gonna actually get into some Bible stuff in a little bit, but a classic tale and some. I don't think it's in the King James book, which I don't really believe anyway, because like the translation. I mean, it's that like lost in translation. Like you just don't get it anymore. So like, but there are some renditions of the account of like the raising of Lazarus, where they use a rod to help do that, to help like get the implication or like to help like get that whatever the movement that I don't know what the word I'm trying to think of is, but that's what this depiction is behind us. Is actually Lazarus being raised with a wand right there. Very like, I don't know. It's cool to see that just in like you know maybe it's real, maybe it's not. A lot of people do believe in the Bible where they do use it a bunch of times though for magic, which is funny. I'm gonna put this right there. That's just another depiction of, I believe, Moses using a magic wand there. Which kind of looks like he's holding a gun too, as you were saying, Dawson, earlier. Here's another one of, I believe it is another picture of. This is when Moses uses a wand to get water from a rock. Yeah. Let's blow that up a little bit. Again, it's just like these cool ancient pictures of wands, like just carved into things like forever. We've had art, since 18,000 years ago. There's been an art of these like instruments. The first thing that we ever used. Here's just some more classic pictures. I'm just throwing them up now so we get them in. Else I'll forget. Check those out, people. Cool. Get to the video just to see what a wand looks like.
Different variations.
Different variations. I did like these depictions. Yeah. These
and
ancient
just the
carved
way
ones.
it always comes up in like folklore, religion, like.
These pictures are great.
It's easy to just kind of like breeze by it, but it's like there's something to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's like this many different accounts and like histories about something. I'm like, all right, well, I'm believing that's a thing. Then.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm at 1% battery, Sam.
Nice.
I'll share this with you.
Charge that shit.
All right, we're gonna take a short break here, actually, because I have to pee. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the religious context of wands and things like that. We're gonna dig all into that. From there, we'll go a lot of different places. A lot of the spells of Moses, Jaboy was using. Aaron's. We're going to talk more about Aaron's rod, all this stuff, more specific staffs throughout. We're going to talk about the actual like magical weapons side of things now, like which gods were using this and when. So that'll be cool. We'll be right back. This is Pumpkinhillradio.
Peace. Stay sweet.
All right, welcome back to Pumpkinhillradio. I'm your host Travis Wormwood. Got Dawson and Sam with me, and before the break, we were talking all about wands, their origins, and kind of how they work spiritually and like magically. And now I kind of want to talk about just some of their references in different religions specifically. We might go into some other stuff too. Before we get, you guys got anything else to? You want to just jump right in?
Let's
jump in.
All right. So basically, I want to talk about Moses' staff in the Bible. Pretty classic Moses staff here. In Exodus 4:2-4, God turns Moses' shepherd staff into a snake and then back again. Yeah. So that happens a couple different times in the Bible and in like other religions too. It also kind of becomes Sam. What is? I need you to look up the medicine rod in Greek and that because that's where there's like a Greek god that also has this like snake intertwined around a rod, and there's some significance there that I think is probably important to touch on. We also have Aaron's staff, which is like he's one of the gods of Egypt, I believe, or something like that. But he's Aaron throws down his staff before a pharaoh, and it becomes a serpent. That's something else. Moses uses his staff to part the Red Sea. That might be the biggest like.
That's huge.
That might be like the biggest magical like implications of like what this thing is, what like staves are possible of doing, especially if you're like in good with like the pantheon that you're like. Doing your chaos magic too, which is what Moses was doing to God, right? So he was like able to basically mantle God for a minute and like use some God power, channeling it through this staff that also probably has powers of its own beyond that. I don't know exactly what it would be made out of. It probably was like olive, right, or something. That's like a classic Christian wood. But that's like just parting the Red Sea. If that is to be taken literally at all. That's like just that's like one of the most extreme forms of just using a staff, a wand, like this energy channeling device. That's just straight up in the Bible. I mean, I know there's some crazy stuff in the Bible, but people still generally, I mean, there's a lot of people that believe it and practice Christianity, and just like to have that be a part of such a mainstream religion.
Any one of these
just to like, just to like bring it down to a point where like, I don't know, just to like cover the bases of. I don't know. I want people that are listening to see that this is covered in all spectrums, and then just because of that, it's on so many different levels of reality. It seems like it just might be real in some capacity, right?
Definitely.
So we also was talking about Aaron's staff. That comes up in Numbers and Exodus for you Bible heads out there. In Psalms 23:4, it says, "Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." Ooh, referring to God's guidance and protection. So there's just like, yeah, this like spiritual authority that is given to like the staff, which then I know even the Pope has like his own scepter thing, right?
Yes.
That he was using. Remember, well, if we want to talk about a very recent use of a staff or a wand to use them to do a magical spell,
Opening portals.
yeah, just like 2 episodes ago, we covered it briefly, but yeah, the Pope it was a Jubilee year, which means that every 25 years the Pope goes to these specific places on Earth that are portals, and that are like doorway portals, and he goes in these places that only he's allowed to go into, and there's like spells on the ground in Greek and Latin that he has to trace with his staff while saying the incantation, and then like doing that at all 5 places is supposed to well, you tell me, open the portal, I guess, except for that this year he did one of those portals inside of a prison, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Which is just odd, right?
It's never happened
So,
before. It's never
so
happened
just like
before.
doing that. Now this is like me just going full nuts, but it's like doing that along with like all these planets aligning.
Yeah.
Right.
And we
There's
got
this
orbs in the sky.
and the orbs in the sky. There's a lot of just like insane stuff happening right now that I just want there. That we don't necessarily get news coverage of every day. We get like, as everybody listening will know, like the 24-hour news cycle just like eats anything paranormal after about 24 hours. So
it's
that's
either
what we're
like
left with,
completely
yeah.
like brushed off or like normalized,
Mhm.
and everyone kind of forgets that it's like kind of a big deal.
Aaron's staff actually miraculously buds with almond blossoms to prove his authority at one point. That's where the almond, that like he has the almond branch tree, whatever, the staff.
Yeah.
So that's like, would that be, what kind of magic is that? Is that like reversing the time on it to get like the age back, or is that reigniting it? Is that like a zombie type thing? It's, like what is the like magic system at
I think
play
it's
there?
just pure life essence.
Pure life essence, just running
bringing
through
a
it.
dead stick till it, flower.
And like
That's his power. That's his life force going through it.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, isn't this some symbolism kind of like super deep in that, like, I don't know, a tree is, I don't know, a tree comes out of the ground. It's like a wand itself, like the origin, the father wand is like,
You're right.
A product of
You are
magic, a product of something like pretty much infinitesimally smaller than the final thing. Like,
You're right.
it's
like
wild.
You
It's
basically
like,
get some. It's basically. I mean, it isn't, but it's like it's basically energy creation, like something on
Yeah,
nothing. Like
yeah.
it isn't, because I guess the blueprints are all there, and that's just like the cycle of life is how it works. But it is like, yeah, you're taking something. If you're talking about just a little seedling or a seed and becoming a tree, which is then as form of a wand, as you're saying. Yeah, there's an extreme implication there of like, something that. I think
of nothing.
I think like we talk about
Grows
psychic
from the
tattoos,
earth.
like psychic basically pillars on the earth, like that kind of energy rippling through so many different.
Will you ever just like go touch a tree?
Feels
Dude,
great.
I was just thinking about
Incredible.
when we were running.
Very
through-
energizing,
Mhm.
grounding. Like
Remember
feels safe.
when we were in California,
Oh,
like
yeah,
running
the
through the
redwoods?
redwoods? I remember like the oxygen was so rich. I was like seeing things in the trees. Like I swear to God, it was wild. It was so like
you feel like
I don't know,
it's a
something
magical
else.
space.
that was
Yeah.
rad.
You're right though. It's like the earth, like Gaia has kind of created her own like power generators. Almost like Dawson was saying at the beginning, like how some of these like towers in old times with like, or like church steeples and all this, like kind of almost these like larger.
Fires.
And that is true. It's like even like you look like a radio tower that's like emitting energy from the top. All these like are like, I don't know, the whole it is like that. That's just like
Satellite has a little wand in the middle, dude.
to like emit this thing, right? So there's something there. Let's see. Aaron also uses his staff to just making this picture just small, but I think it's cool with this like.
It is pretty rad.
Looks pretty good.
For the listeners, it's just a very intricate carving, probably from like Greek times or something of I really don't know when, but of Moses touching a like a wand to just like a rock wall, and people are around him and water's coming out.
Drinking the water.
But it's all like carved into like the side of stone, and it just is very beautiful. And it's cool to have like these sort of magical undertones just in like a like that. I don't know. That's just
A lot
like
of
out there in
people
the
don't
world.
associate, like Christianity and the Bible with like just magic.
Mm-hmm. And what it is, because
That's just what
also
miracles are,
because
is like
another
magic
thing
events.
Aaron does with his staff during the plague set upon Egypt in biblical times, he like the staff is like used to like help cause some of the plagues, or like help like generate some of that essentially.
Healing, causing,
Yeah, it's just around there, right? There's also these prophetic references. Yeah, a shoot will come up, and from the stump of Jesse, sometimes translated as rod or branch. That's in Isaiah. I guess I don't really know what that even means. I think it's just talking about rod or branch, right? No, that's okay. That's just the crazy sense I could have said out of nowhere, basically. But it does come back to what Sam was saying about like this like trees, these seedlings coming up and like creating this. That's why it is just called a branch.
What the best wands made out of is like these young tree sapling
and like I think you could like there is like
harvesting the youth.
Yeah. There is like the metal rods and like the crystal wands, and those all are probably used for certain things. And like I think we have a couple around here, but ain't that wood? Ain't the classic wood? I've even heard of like if you have some like seedlings that are still alive. Like that's the thing. That's like where it's like, are you scavenging and finding these really nice dead pieces of wood, which I have done, or it's like, are you cutting it off the tree, which I think in small bits is fine too. Yeah. But I've heard of people even like gathering different types of like branches and then like braiding them together. Right. And you could even braid like, and we have like a branch out there that I did where I braided like
them or like wrapping wire around
I braided
them.
Like some like fresh lavender around a branch once, and that was like a great thing. But yeah, you can add multiple. You could even you could even grab dead ones if you were trying to like not cut stuff off the tree and just bind them with copper or something like that. I can't wait for that
episode. If you like
where
pick it up and you feel it, it has a good feel to it. It's
can't wait for the episode where we make our own DOS. We'll probably have to just record us like going to find the stuff and then like just have us making it on cam. That'll be great though to like
in the field.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Go up high, get some aspen.
That's what I was thinking.
So just in other religions around the world besides that's true. Get some cool bits by. I mean, there's beautiful wood everywhere around here. Just
blue spruce, man.
It's nice to like make a thing of it, Go out, take a little road trip.
Well, it had to be a whole
It'd be like because we'd like go find them and then like make them a different day. Let them croisen.
Yes, exactly.
Cure dry.
That's not the right word. So just in religions around the world, start with Christianity, just for the Bible heads out there to get into it. It might be. I don't know. I think most of our listeners probably have some like a slightly more idea of what the Bible is than some of this other stuff, just so you have like a reference that is something you may have learned in your past, even if you're no longer religious.
The Bible's a good book.
My dad gave me a Bible for Christmas.
Nice.
It's good stories.
That's cool.
Really interesting stories in the
Bible. Ancient Egypt, the Waz scepter. That was a staff with a forked bottom and animal head top, and symbolizing the power and dominion. Priests and pharaohs carried ceremonial staffs in the religious rituals, and different types of wands and staffs were buried with the dead for protection in the afterlife. That's something we haven't really talked about yet. Is like, is like carrying these powers through to whatever that other side is. I know Egypt was pretty far out with that, and they were just burying like your whole family with you if you died, and they were still like alive.
You're all mummified.
It's like all your cats are there with you, and it's like, they all died on the same day as you. All right.
You're like servants. Your servants get just entombed.
Which I don't agree with that, but it is like that is very interesting, and like having just a wand buried with you, bearing with basically like. I know King Tut I believe he was buried with his dagger, the ceremonial dagger from the meteoroid. That also becomes like black, like Saturn worship, right? Black cube worship at a thing.
There's a lot of things made out of that.
But like having like even any some kind of like.
Well, the cube is a cross rolled up.
Yeah, we missed that episode.
We had a whole Saturn worship.
Yeah, you missed that. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
still here for it.
It's huge.
In Celtic and Druidic traditions, and like neo-pagans and people that are like still Wiccans are still. Neo-pagan sounds weird for some reason. I don't know. The word neo just has bad connotations these days. Yeah. Pagans and Wiccans that are still, and heathens of all types are still using wands and things like that today. Maybe we can get like a Wiccan on sometime to really teach us, because they would have specific spells that they're doing with it, right? Which probably get very magical. I don't know all the. I've tried to find some for us to talk about, but I don't have like specific incantations of all these things right here. I might have it in some of my notes somewhere, but Druids use staves, often made of sacred wood like oak, yew, and hazel. Hazel coming up again here. And like Druids, they're the ones that would be the wild men of the forest, these shapeshifters, right? And we even mentioned earlier the staff being used to shapeshift others. So that is like where that would come from, is gaining this wild man magic, this Gaia magic and shape-shifting things.
The Bigfoot.
Yeah, possibly. We can work that into another Bigfoot episode. But just that idea of like transferring it through a staff is pretty fucking awesome. Like that's like one of the powers that it might have, is like basically transferring, like, turn you into chicken. It's like a World of Warcraft
Frogs into
spell.
a pig.
But it's like there's
Turn yourself
yeah.
in,
Yeah.
make yourself disappear in a forest.
And not to like discredit all this or think it's like make it silly, but it is silly in a sense. I mean, like, but it is like to me, it's also real enough. Like shape shifting at some degree is real, even if it's like some sort of like psychic resonance that you're that you're like putting into everybody else, and you haven't really changed. There's ways to see it where like
there's shapeshifters out there.
Yeah. I don't need to explain myself. You're the one listening.
No, there's shapeshifters out there. You've probably seen them, you just didn't know.
We'll get into this one specifically more, but Gungnir, that's like Odin's magical spear staff that never missed its mark.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's kinda like
Just to jump off that for a second, but I believe Zeus also has thunderbolts that he can throw that never miss, basically, which are also these like pointed things.
Yeah.
Really, that's like, and maybe that's him channeling from himself, but it's still this like point of
Lightning
energy, just like an energy blast, basically.
Aimbot lightning.
Mm-hmm. Female practitioners of magic in Norse times used staffs called Volar in their ceremonies, and these staffs were associated with Satyr, which is magic and prophecy.
Nice.
In Hindu, I like all their magic weapons over there. The dandu is a magic staff carried by religious practitioners. Various deities are depicted holding staffs, obviously, and then the Brahma Danda represents spiritual authority, which is a type of staff or a scepter that they hold. And even in like in the Journey West, we know is like Dragon Ball Z, his extending pole, right? That's like that's like a type of staff that's taken from very old text. That's not something that Dragon Ball Z made up, like whole cloth. Yeah. That's like an ancient
flying
thing.
on the cloud.
Yeah, Nimbus is also there. Yeah, just talking about that one story. More about Gungnir. In these like, okay, where do I start? This is a legendary staff. This is basically the Allfather's weapon. Mm-hmm. It was smithed by dwarves. It's the dwarven smiths, I should say, known as the Sons of Idvaldi, who imbued it with extraordinary properties through their unmatched craftsmanship. So we're definitely gonna have Tanner back on to go over some more. We're gonna have a whole Norse, series,
rune.
To dig even further into that kind of stuff. But I do love learning about like the dwarves and all these other races in the different 9 realms and things, and how that relates to like our understanding of things. Even if you whether that be like some type of Neanderthal type race that we were living alongside, or whether that's like an alien or something from a different plane of existence,
sort of gods, deities,
if the 9 realms are truly just different planes stacked over each other, and in one of them we have these dwarves where we can build stuff with. There's always ways you can take it, you can whatever flavor you want, but it is cool to learn about them. And like they have this, in all these stories, especially in Norse, like the dwarves just have this way of smithing, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like very cool. This magic with magical properties. So that's where like this alien side of stuff, this like tech. It's like they're smithing with like hyper tech, right? Where they can
Sandown Clown.
Yep. It's
also one kind of shit.
It's like an alien. It's like one of these high. Man. It's a high stranger thing. If you in this day and age we're like taken to a place where like a dwarf, I guess as you would see them, was like literally, if you want to take it as literally it is, like smithing in like a hot play. Like there's like in a mine, they're like, but there's like the thing they're handing you is like full of essentially technology that is like beyond your understanding, that can like never miss, gives you like insight into things that are around you, these things that are like high technology, like basically like radar and like
protect you from things.
You would like, what is this? You would see that as a high strangeness event. So that's just how it's being depicted in Norse stuff, and that's how you put it into like stories and context for people to pass on. So that sometimes if you say something too high strange, it's not ever going to make it through like the information gap of time. So you need to build these stories so that you can send it 50,000 years into the future.
Yeah, and it's like that's like what you. It's like just like culturally, like your references are going to be different than like nowadays. Like nowadays we have such a deep like cultural reference just from all of like humanity.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like early on still in like these like isolated like cultures, you have such a like limited cultural like scope to like view things. So you're gonna like, that's why all the stories are like so different but also so similar.
The exact same, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like different. Yeah, it's just all through like a different lens of like whatever belief system and like culture and like even just like climate you're in. You know, like it's just there's gonna be different natural resources and animals that are gonna like create different references to things, and just these days we're lucky enough to have like access to all of it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we can really
speaking
just
of
tap into
an
that
exact like, okay, to overlay Norse mythology and Christian mythology stuff, or like religion as people would call it, whatever, the same thing. It's all the same, whatever. It's all different pantheons that I kind of believe in all of them anyway. But these like, so Gungnir is so Odin, when he does his self-sacrifice, right, to like gain more knowledge, right, what he does in this, and I can't wait to go over this in the Norse thing, but he has this like quest for wisdom, and in the stories he hangs himself on the world tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and nights, right. This is akin to then Christ being on the cross at this point. Odin is pierced, like he himself is speared by his Gungnir, by this staff, and in that he gains knowledge of the runes and their power. Yeah. In that moment, right? Just like, I mean, and Jesus is
Christ
also speared
like
and shit,
stabbed,
right?
And it's like what?
And we talked about the spear.
Stream of blood and water that comes out of him.
Yeah.
And then he like is resurrected. And,
recall
like,
we talked about the spear for a while. We remember Hitler had it.
Yeah.
It's like still up in like pop culture today. Like Nazis had it at one point.
They were looking for all of those artifacts. Dude.
Just to like throw like we're like, you know, we're way far back and all of a sudden we're in the 40s, but. Yeah. These we'll just talk about how these things even go through time and change, and like they were using the spear pretty recently. Yeah, it's crazy. But this is another one of those takes is like Odin hangs himself on the world tree for 9 days and nights, and then he gets pierced with his own spear, and then he gains this knowledge of runes, which we like use for like most of our magical practices even today, right? That's like I don't know, that like pursuit of wisdom, like using this staff. I don't know exactly like what the like lesson is there, but it's like this. I think even having a magical item like that you, especially if you were using one the whole time and you were like imbuing it with this magic, and it was this item made by this like an alien high strangeness creature, these dwarves, right?
Some mythical.
You find a way to like essentially like make it a part of yourself, even if it's like stabbing yourself into you. It's like you're kind of like uploading its information into you, and then all of a sudden you have this like ancient alien wisdom, right? You have this like that's what that is. You're getting the download. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Even if you think of it as like
it's fucking far out, dude.
Like an electric rod, like almost like it almost reminds me of and I don't even believe this story necessarily, but like the Benjamin Franklin flying a kite and getting like struck by lightning. It's like it's kind of a similar thing to that, where you like get this thing that's like charged with like information and electricity.
Well, he had a different invention that was
unlocking the mind.
It was just a lightning rod. Yeah, on the top of the house. So you'd like, not get your house burned down or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know. Maybe there was something more behind it. Maybe there was some other research that like kind of sparked the idea.
I'll tie everything into like magic.
You know?
Yeah, well, same with the lightning. All that goes into like even go to Tesla's. He has these the free energy stuff where there was every building was capped with this thing. He had that specific tower. What was the name of that? I remember I tried to make myself remember the name of the specific tower was. A tower that got taken down by Trump's grandpa. Yeah. And then he ended up with the schematics of free energy. It's a whole thing about how.
Oh yeah, dude, they've been snuffing all that shit. I mean, the water engines, all that shit.
That's
you gotta have
the 0 point gravity or 0 point energy.
The channel's got to be dependent on the.
But if we're talking about these ancient designs, magic techniques, and we just dropped like two insanely important historical figures, Hitler and Trump. I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just saying like important. I'm just saying important magic, like dude. Things like they're making a huge mark, whatever that is.
You think the global elites aren't using magic?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's literally what they're using. It's like why it's like thought of.
They're doing
like silly thing.
They're doing Odin-like rituals with these high strange.
They're doing like all of this
things. If they have any connection,
wands and staves, like they're definitely using that. Yeah. That's why I think like when you think back to like
sacrifices for knowledge.
Even just like how like these old structures and the pyramids and stuff are built, it's like if you have this like 0 point energy like wand that's like super powerful, like that's how you build that shit.
Yeah. No, you're
things,
right.
Like,
yeah.
Weightlessly, you like have that channel. You have like powerful magicians.
Well, it's the Tai Chi I was saying. It's the move. It's the taking your energy from there to there, And it's like, even if you aren't actually strong enough to do it, you're just like doing it. Like
Yeah.
you're like gathering energy from around you too to like pull it up.
If
Like you're using like a spiritual type.
in these practices.
It's a
like,
different.
You're gonna be able to do that.
Yep, it's like just like we were talking about. Like, there's different kinds of strength you'd get from
Like,
different wood. Like
yeah, there's
like a spiritual strength that you'd like would need to flex to like grow that and like move that. Right.
There's these theories that we were like, there's this like ancient advanced civilization with technology that like didn't pass through time, and it's like, well, maybe it was just like a magic. Maybe it just was, full circle. Maybe the technology was just they were tapped in with like the magical realm.
And at some point, maybe like in human history, we'll be able to like get to there technologically, or find the ways into that. But there's
certain ages, like we're like kind of entering a new phase of like reality,
Well, the Earth is
kind
going
of like in a dark age.
We're so far away from the center of the universe now.
Yeah.
Right, we're entering like a new like we're just pushing out away this like
just orientation.
We just push out of our shell, kind of,
Yep.
There's so much more that we're going to be
I think
passing through.
There's a lot of things pointing in the direction that we're like entering another like magical like renaissance.
Yeah, which is why I thought it was the perfect time to just thought about straight up magic wands. I know, I was like, it's kind of silly to bring up, and maybe in the beginning of this episode I was a little bit rocky because there was just so much information to dump out at you guys, but like. Hopefully y'all made it.
Seems silly, but that's... Dude,
and just, like, no matter what it is,
that's not an accident.
Even if you're just using, like, a pencil and writing something down, like, have some meaning behind it and feel that. Real quick, I did a show and tell for the watchers. This is one of the ones that I made. Hopefully the blurred and this doesn't go too bad. That's just a driftwood piece that I found out here in Colorado, and then I did some bind runes. This is Partho, this rune right here, this C shape up on the top. That's the first rune I ever pulled from just, like, a blind like pull. That's like a read basically, and that's like that means like magical intuition and stuff. So I always try to use that one and get some bind runes on there. That one I also wanted to pull up our dowsing rods that we have. We did use these in our investigation of the Kava. I think that's episode 54 for the listeners. But these things are also like a form of wand basically. I'm not going to try to use them right now. I just wanted to show them off just because like wands are not just like what you see in Harry Potter. There's so many different ways that they have been made and remade.
I feel like we used to every now and then we'd pull runes at the end of the episode. We should do that more.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it right now.
Yeah,
but...
dude. I mean, I have.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's pull a rune, and let's close out.
Yeah, hell yeah. Are we all gonna like whichever one we grab? Are we gonna keep it in our hand, or are we gonna throw it back in? Keep it.
Let's keep it.
Let's keep it. I don't want to take
if someone takes it, it's the same one. Sam, listener, you go first. Ghost host.
Ghost host.
Look here.
First rune.
F.
Oh, nice, dude. That's
Here, Dust, grab that book right there.
I know.
Right there.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a page for every single one. I'll grab mine. You try to find Sam's here. Sam, grab. Okay, I just looked at a bunch of ones I'm pulling out. I need to do this without looking. That's the point. This is near the end of the episode, everybody. Hope you liked this thing that we did so far. I do. I have a little sachet here with runes in it. So did Sam get a rune there? Did you find that one?
Yeah.
Almost.
I get it mixed up with Anzu's.
And I'm gonna pull one here too. Okay, Sam, show your piece to the listener and describe what it looks like. Maybe we can find the exact word.
Looks like an F.
It does look like an F.
Looks almost identical to an F.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
might have gone right by it.
This is crazy. I'm gonna start closing out while we look for this, and we'll dump the information out after this.
Yeah.
I did kind of grab a little tea.
I'm gonna grab mine.
No, you keep looking so we can get it done.
What do you got? Well, I gotta grab it. Someone else gotta look at it. It's hard, man. Trying to find it, just flip to the right page.
All right. All right, so go ahead and rate us 5 stars.
I got this one.
Send us your stories, request stories. This is the year of Bigfoot. If you have a specific Bigfoot story, let's send that to pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com. Sam, what is your... Do you want to read the meaning? Just read the...
Yeah, so I've got Fehu, and that's translation to cattle. Keywords: cattle, wealth, abundance, money. We're all familiar with the term cash cow, and that is the energy that Fehu describes. Nice. So literally cash cow is what this
a good one.
translates to.
It's good manifest.
Dude, it looks like it's our money year, right, Doss? Is that what you've been saying?
This year.
Let's get some
it's 2 years
tripping.
running now for you.
Yeah, it's my year every year, baby. Let's go, baby.
We're really trying for a money year this year.
Yeah, so you got the T. What do you got?
I got just
the I.
The
so
rod.
You're looking for TI.
I got
nice.
the
So
magic wand.
Oh, okay. This is what I got. I got Nothits, or Nothies. Yeah, I said it right. Also known as Nod, Need, Noth. Quick side note: Nod is a place east of Eden in the Bible.
Yeah.
Talking about
yeah.
other locations at that time on Earth. There's a place called Nod. I did a short story about it one time. Meaning it's doesn't have many rosy or cherry connotation. What the hell does that even mean? It speaks of frustration and hardship. Ooh. Yeah. Reading means that you are most likely constrained or about to be by situations or a person. I feel like I'm very constrained right now. I'm in the room.
Yeah.
I'm in the furthest. I can't get out without two other dudes getting out of here. So maybe that's what I'm feeling right
It's
now.
actually like
That
that
makes
for
sense.
all of us. I think we all have to get up. At the same
Suffering
time.
is an inherent. Here's what I got. Suffering is an inherent part of Gnosis. So that's not great for me, but it's par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah, I got this one.
Here you go.
Here we go.
Dawson,
Isa.
you read yours.
Isa,
I got
nice
Isa.
run.
Meanings, what is it? As we have learned through Hagalaz in the ancient Norse. Okay, we'll just get it. Translation: ice. Nice, dude. Stasis, frozen. Frigidity, solid.
Sick.
All right, that's good for the winter,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Ice is dangerous for those of us who live in northern hemisphere. We deal with the potential for ice for much of the year. It can be treacherous to walk upon. Isa shows us that all things in the natural world can be stopped or frozen. Yeah, cool.
Interesting. I think it's just important for us to consider these things. You know,
Yeah.
whatever that means. Like, I think that's just important. I think we're on a nice roll here, Dawes. We should not
Emotional
freeze
rigidity.
up. Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been feeling that a little bit
Yeah.
lately.
them. Interesting.
Emotional
We'll start doing room
frigidity.
polls here.
Yeah.
You've been feeling that in what
Just
context?
frozen emotionally a little bit.
Yeah, we'll start doing.
Stuck in place.
We'll warm you up, dog.
Yeah.
Try to
We'll
remember
try.
just the room that you pulled the least, so that as we do this
Isa.
going further into the North study, we
Sounds
can
like
learn them a little bit. Okay, a
Sounds
little
like
more
the guy
anyway.
From Star Wars. Isa.
All right,
Isa,
Sam, we're
what
not
is
doing
that
this. I
guy's
gotta
name?
close out. Please
What's
don't
that
close
dude's
out
name?
without. It's a
Jar
you
Jar.
can't do that
Jar Jar
accent
Binks,
anymore.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to. All right, everybody. Rate us 5 stars. Thanks for listening. This has been Pumpkin Hill Radio. I'm Travis. Sam almost made it through the whole episode. Good job, everybody, for getting this far. Thanks for listening to us talk about wands. We're gonna do a Patreon episode where we build
We'll
them.
make 'em.
Again, I know we talked about it, but I'll send links out. I'll be posting on the media for that. So check us out on all social medias. You can find our link tree in the description below.
Click the link below.
So just find us on all the socials there. Go to the Etsy, pumpkinhillradio.etsy.com. Selling a lot of cool stickers and things there. You can be a part of it. Every time you buy a sticker, I usually put an extra thing in there. You'll get definitely a Pumpkin Hill Radio sticker. And if you just send us like an email that you want a Pumpkin Hill Radio sticker, I'll just send it to you. That's pumpkinhillradio@gmail.com for all that. And your stories, check out our partner Dubby.
Shout out Dubby.
What do they get?
Code Star Mother, 10%.
Yeah, at checkout, that's dubby.gg. We did
We
it
all
today.
hit the Dubby today.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm off half a scoop of W right now. It's great.
Just clean energy. Jitterless
Microdosing
fuel.
Dubby, dude. We're
Yeah.
chilling.
Yeah, I'm doing microdoses of W.
I'm going to be honest. We did not get to the listener reply. We're going to make that a Patreon exclusive.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just too much.
It's just too much.
It's a book.
It's somebody was basically, just for just a little tease, I think it's important to get on there. No, it's somebody was basically channeled like an alien, like an astronaut being interacted with by an alien. They were channeled this thing
They
over
did make
multiple
AI images for
over
it,
multiple
but it's good.
dreams. Here are the 2 images that they just made
yeah,
and
those-
sent to
yeah.
me.
Those
We'll
are
pop
very
them up
cool.
on the new one.
Yeah, I'll just show them right here.
I
Just-
give you some stickers, Travis.
these pictures of an astronaut with the alien behind him. He sent those to us as a part of it. That'll be on the Patreon on the probably $1 tier for that. Check yeah. Well, until it gets filled up, that'll be 5 on it.
DM below.
Until then, this has been Pumpkin Hill Radio. Goodbye, all.
Love you.
Goodbye. Heart. I was gonna do that, and then I saw you.
I love you.